Are we ready now?
Okay. Yes, he said you could.
I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee meeting of September 30th to order. Can I have a roll call, please? Commissioner Schreiber. Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of September 2nd Public Safety Committee meeting? And I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any additions, changes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And Rich Garrett is here from Second Alarmers. Do you have any announcements or anything today? Of our police department, are you in charge of that tonight?
I can
Officer
fill in
Freed?
until he comes
Okay.
in. He's in the lot. But good evening, Commissioners. On the traffic safety side, just a reminder, everybody, it's now the end of September, so the traffic safety blitz for the month is over, and it would be time to take down the lawn signs. Residents can hold on to those until June and then put those back up in June when we resume the blitz. Also, on the 21st of this month, we're going to be in cooperation with the Abington School District running a program called Operation Safe Stop. What that is we're going to work with the school district. They're going to provide us with bus routes, and we're going to follow the buses around on the routes, watching for violators for passing the school buses with their lights on and stop arms activated. So we'll have extra officers out that day, so the residents should be looking out for that. And now that the chief's here, I'll be glad to turn that over to him.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the committee, just a couple other things to report on. You're aware of the papal visits and all of those things. It was very interesting because we were able to exercise some activities that we've never done before in Montgomery County, so it was very interesting, and not only did it go well from the standpoint of everything relatively smoothly, but we got to do some different things. You saw we put out the information, of course. I don't know how that went over, or if anybody said anything to you about that, but it's just the first step, I guess, of the township being able to do more of that on an ongoing as-needed basis. So that was just something that I wanted to mention, and certainly if you have any feedback or any ideas for the future, we'd be happy to do that. I think the idea of trying to get the Ready Montco out there even further to as many citizens as possible needs to be something that we all think about doing, because it's just going to prepare our citizens for the time when they really need it, and that's certainly worthwhile. This Friday is the Susan G. Komen walk from starting at Willow Grove Park Mall, and I just mentioned that because, as you know, that's not only a big event, but it's really become a very, very big event in Abington. It actually kicks off from Willow Grove Park Mall at 7, 8 o'clock on Friday morning, and it's quite an event. If you've never seen it, and you're around, it's something worth seeing. And it'll be something that we'll be involved in. Of course, you have the flyers in front of you regarding our PAL Food Festival, which is coming up just right around the corner on the 13th. And so we certainly want you to be aware of that. And if you haven't gotten your ticket, certainly join us for that. It's not going to be a great time. Like always, you get to see all the people from, seems like everybody from Abington comes there. But in addition to that, of course, it goes all for the very worthwhile programs for our kids in PAL. And it's something I wanted to mention as well. And Madam Chair, the other thing that we had on our agenda just to talk to you about, and we can do that at any point that you'd like to, or however you want to do that, is after we did the red light cameras at the last board meeting, there was some interest by the commissioners to talk about what other things that they would like to see us do, surveys they'd like us to see taken or whatever. And we certainly don't want to let that die on the vine or forget about that. So however you would like to do that, but we certainly, if there's some things that the board wants us to do as far as numbers or things like that, please let us know, or we can discuss it at either this or a future Public Safety Committee meeting, and then we'll make sure that the requests and the interest in those issues aren't forgotten. And I know that was Commissioner Jones's concern, and so we wanted to make sure that we do that at the board's pleasure. And that's all we have for this evening, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief. Perhaps we can put that, and I know Commissioner Jones had another traffic-related thing that he would like to have on the agenda, so maybe we can put all those together on the next agenda.
Would it be possible, I do know that I believe that there is a sign here, if we could not put it fully on its presentation, just show that sign?
We can show the sign, but I don't want to have the discussion tonight because we didn't announce it, and I know
True.
some of the other
Yeah.
commissioners want to talk about it.
Okay.
So, do you want to show the sign that we're talking about?
Officer Posey did ask me if I would help him pick it up because he needs the assistance.
Is that going to be able to get on camera from? Excuse me? Well, then don't you have to have traffic to have it turned on to make it work? Somebody going to walk real fast in front of it?
I think we want you to test it.
Plug it right in. And these are portable signs, so they can be mounted to existing speed limit signs or existing telephone poles. And it can, I don't know, does that work? Can you hold that?
Is that on camera?
Could you do me a favor and like angle it so maybe it's facing back now? And just move it up a little so you can go away. That's perfect.
Back 2 inches.
Okay, for the people watching at home,
Al,
this
could
is
you
what
lift
the
it up a
sign
little
looks
right over your
like.
face?
Either that or smile.
So probably people have seen them in different communities, but if we're
Yes.
going to have a discussion then about pros and cons and prices and all that kind of stuff at the next public safety.
We can do that.
Okay, great. And then the other ideas that we discussed, we can also bring up at that time as well. Manager LaFever, is that okay for the next agenda? Thank you very much. Chief, is there anything else?
No, that's all, Madam Chair.
And we're going to start with our formal agenda here. PS1 is a motion to advertise ordinance number 2101, amending Chapter 156, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 14, Stop Intersection, and Article 3, Parking Regulations, Section 25, Parking prohibited at all times, no parking between signs, no parking here to corner, parking prohibited except certain hours, no stopping or standing, and Section 27, parking time limited, for adoption at the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Commissioners on November 12, 2015 at 7:30 p.m., and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion at all? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. PS2 is a motion directing the Police Department to donate to the Bikes for Tykes program care of Sussman Automotive all unclaimed bicycles and bicycle parts which have been confiscated and are being held by the department, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners?
I guess me. So we've done this program before, correct? I mean, last year, and it's, what have we, do we see more bicycles confiscated this year than last year, or is it about the same? Or could you give us a rundown on that, anybody?
You know, Commissioner, it goes up and down slightly every year, but in the final analysis, it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
We get the ones back to the rightful owners that were able to, and we still end up with a considerable number of them. The majority of them aren't pristine bikes. Many of them are only parts, or they're bikes that need a tremendous amount of repair, and that's why this is such a good way to donate them, because then Sussman Automotive does all of the labor to get them into being much better shape, and then they're worthy to be given out to kids that are needy kids to receive them.
Great program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Staff or the public? Name and address, please.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane, and while I'm at it, could I also recommend that we get like a lavalier mic? We've had so much trouble with speakers and mics, and if we had 1 or 2 lavalier mics, people could just, when they're doing their presentation. The issue with the bikes, I brought up last time, and I think the year before that. And I was just asking if you wouldn't please take this list of bikes and distribute them to the thousands of people that you all have on your email lists. Some of them will say, oh, I know Tommy down the street had his bike stolen. Okay? They don't know that there's a small number of people that know that you're getting rid of this. I'm not accusing you of not making it public. I understand it's public, but I think you all know that unless people get something in their mailbox, they don't know. And so many of these bikes might get claimed. They do not all actually report it when it's stolen. They just consider that it's lost. And you know, that's just something that happens. Ideally, they would report it, but they don't all. Very clearly, these were all not reported, or we know where they went. So please, could we, before we get rid of them, give that list to the commissioners, put it out to your, among you, thousands and thousands of eyeballs, and see if some of them could find their homes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. PS3 is a motion for township officials to approve continuation of National Fire Protection Association compliant, it's a typo, compliant firefighter physicals and wellness evaluations for all Abington Township Fire Department members, and I so moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? I actually have a question. The $24,000, is that the same amount as last year? Do we know? Or similar?
Commissioner, the $24,000 is the same number for the last 3 years. It's actually about half the cost of the physicals. The fire companies make up the additional costs.
Okay.
It's somewhere in the vicinity of about $325 per physical, and I think the number is around, it's approximate because it's not the same every year, but it's about 175 to 200 physicals that we do each year.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners, staff, or the public? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. PS4 is a motion to authorize township officials to accept a grant award from the North Central Highway Safety Network, Inc. in the amount of $3,500 with the township's matching portion approximately $51, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions from commissioners, staff, or the public? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. PS5, Buckle Up, Pennsylvania, is a motion to authorize township officials to accept a grant extension from the North Central Highway Safety Network in the amount of $8,000. The Department of Transportation previously funded this program through Buckle Up, Pennsylvania, and is now funding this program through the North Central Highway Safety Network, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Chief Kelly?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to mention that it may be self-serving saying this at budgetary time, but I wanted to point out tonight's just an example that you see virtually every month where we're bringing to you grants that we have gone out there and attempted to get and bring in. In most cases, it takes us doing some proactive work to get those and then filling them out and so on. And some of them are competitive grants as well. And I just wanted to point out that something that I know many of you know, that we do that, of course, just to try to be able to bring additional safety services to the township without having to charge our taxpayers for them. I also wanted to mention about that particular one, this last one about the Buckle Up Grant, because it was a topic amongst my colleagues in Montgomery County recently. One of the departments was considering getting back in the business of doing the seat belt for safety programs for the children, and the putting in the seat belt or the child seats properly. And it was really interesting how many of them had gotten out of that business, and because of the difficulties and the costs and so on. And I just want you to know that the reason we're able to do it and do so many families and kids is because all of ours is done by civilians and volunteers. And it's just another example of how the great volunteers in our community help us to be able to do things that have gone by the wayside in other communities because of the cost or because of the difficulty. And we just can't say enough about the great job that they do for us and the way they help us do good things in the community for our citizens at no additional cost to the citizens.
So this is also the seats, that checking on the, not just seat belts, but also the child seats that are in the back of the car?
I didn't hear your question, Commissioner.
This Buckle Up Pennsylvania is the, what are they called?
Yes, kids in
The kids in the seats. It's
Safety seats.
making sure that they're loaded into the car correctly, and as well as seat belts.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Yeah. Okay.
That's yes.
I didn't know that it covered both. Thank you. Any comments from the public?
Question.
Yes. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. Chief, so when you mention the volunteers that are doing this, if someone wanted to volunteer, if I wanted to volunteer, how much training, is it a significant training or is it pretty basic?
No, it's not really very basic, Commissioner. It's a lot more complicated than you'd think. And actually the statistics that some of the organizations have out there say that 4 out of 5 of the child seats in cars in America are put in improperly. So that gives you some idea of how difficult that is and why it is that we want to do that for citizens, so they learn how to do it properly. And obviously if a child is in the seat but the seat's not installed properly, it's not going to do much good in an accident. They're liable to get hurt just as much. So that's why it's an important thing. And but we do have people that will provide the training, and it's a lot of getting used to it and the experience of it. Like anything else like that, it's not like it's impossible to do or it takes a rocket scientist to do, but you certainly have to learn how to do it, and then it takes practice and repetition to be able to get it right.
Thank you so much. Sure.
I have one further question. So if somebody that's watching wants to make sure that their seat is installed correctly, who do they contact?
They just call community policing in the police department, and we will be glad to hook them up. We do it usually on Thursdays, usually by appointment. That's when we have the volunteers most readily available, and so we'd be happy to work that out for them. And if they just call the police department's regular number, the 267-536-1100, and then just ask for community policing, we get them to the folks who will set up a schedule for them to come in and do that.
Thank you. I never really thought about this, but I just actually saw on Facebook somebody was asking how to make sure that the seat was installed correctly, and so it's good information. Carol, thanks.
Thank you. So we can just maybe put something out on our email? Is there something that could come from the township in some little form that we could get out on an email?
Sure.
That would be great, because I don't think people really do now. Thank you.
Chief, how many a month do we do kids' safety seats, would you say?
The number that we had was, I'm trying to think, Commissioner, was between 50 and 80 a year, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Does that sound right to you, Al? Around 50 to 80 a year, just in Abington.
Yeah, this is a CAP program, which we discuss probably every month, and we talk about how many seats they do, and it's pretty interesting. Somebody came from Harrisburg a couple of weeks ago. They were saying to have their seat checked and installed, because a lot of townships around here do not do this program anymore, and Abington still does, and with the great volunteers that we have, we're able to still do this program. So it's very nice.
Any other commissioner comments?
Not on this item, so I'll let this, I'll wait till the end.
public?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. This looks like a good thing to make a very short video clip of the right way to do it and put it on the township channel. Although I would beseech you not to put it on before the meetings and use the meeting time. Put it on after the meetings or at a time in one of those slots in between that people will bump into. But thousands of eyeballs see the things on the channel, so it would be a good thing to put there.
Thank you for your comments.
Madam Chair, just so you understand, each seat is different, and each vehicle is different, and that's the trick of it. That's the challenge of it. There isn't one right way to do it. Each seat has different nuances to it, and then the vehicles have different nuances where the seat belts come out and all things like that. That's what the real challenge of putting them in really is. So it's not like we can do a one-size-fits-all type of video for it, because that's not the way it is at all. It takes them actually taking a look at the seat, and it really is a time-consuming process sometimes, where they take a look at the seat and work with the seat and make sure they understand where all of the buckles and retention points are, and then have to go to the car. Even then, once they understand what the child seat's like, even that's not enough. They have to go in and see if you think about your own car, in the back seat, you have sometimes people get in the back seat, they have a tough time even finding the seat belts, right? Because they're in different places and so on. So that's the challenge of it, and that's why it's so important to have people and the same people working on it on a regular basis. And I think it's a good idea that was suggested for some things, but in this particular case, each one of them is so different, that wouldn't be possible.
Thank you for that explanation.
May I make a comment? I was actually very interested to learn that they use, to install them properly, they use the styrofoam swim tubes and cut them and actually use them as kind of wedges, because the whole idea is for the car seat to have no wiggle room whatsoever. And they also instruct the parents on putting the children in, who are also not supposed to have any wiggle room whatsoever. And this was really amazing. The children are not supposed to have heavy coats on while in a car seat, because it allows that extra room. So as the chief said, it's very specific to the car, to the individual car seat, and to the child, the age of the child, the size of the child. So it's a wonderful service. It's a huge service, and sometimes it takes two people to do it.
It's true.
So they check it, and then they also train the parent on how to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
They get a lot of calls. I was interested to learn this. They get a lot of calls from parents when mothers are still pregnant, putting in the infant seat so that they can bring the baby home from the hospital properly.
Interesting.
Can I just recommend that maybe we could just do one and show how wrongly it could be put in, how it should be put in right, and how they could contact the police in order to have help with that.
Thank you for the suggestion. Did we vote on this? We didn't vote on this yet. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other comments about public safety from the commissioners?
I'd also ask Manager Lefevre, maybe for next month's public safety, if you could put on an agenda item for a discussion of the expanded use of cameras at the park, specifically Roslyn Park. I know we have a camera on the skate park, but there have been some incidents of graffiti and vandalism. My constituents have expressed concern, and in speaking to Doug, that one camera obviously gives us a good eyeball view of part of the park. Maybe we could have a few more, but I'd like to have a discussion about it.
Okay.
Thank you. Won't be a problem at all, Commissioner.
I know you brought that up before. That's a good suggestion. Any other commissioner comments?
Two things, I guess. We should recognize it's Fire Prevention Week next week. And the 11th, Sunday, next Sunday, not this Sunday, is the Edge Hill Firehouse Pancake Breakfast. So if anybody could make that. At the North Penn VFW. Thank you, Carol. From 8 to 12. All right? Thanks.
What was the date on it? The 11th?
The 11th. Sunday the 11th of October.
Yes, Commissioner Bowman.
And in Dennis's absence, I'll just mention the Ardsley Fun Day is on Saturday from 12 to 5. I know there's the prediction for bad weather, so I guess stay tuned to the Abington channel for the rain date on that. Thanks.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Comments on public safety?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. So I thought we were going to actually have the red light cameras on the agenda and work out the yellow lights. Maybe I missed that when I missed the beginning of the meeting.
We're going to talk about other things next month. Yes.
Next month, okay.
We did discuss that at the beginning, about having it on next month.
Okay. And I'm hoping my commissioner forwarded on to Chief Kelly that, in fact, I went back through my notes, and we did, in fact, have conversation and figures from some of the side streets. So I don't know if my commissioner mentioned that to Chief Kelly and whether you found those statistics on the side streets from 2013.
2013, yeah.
From 2013, we had statistics from Adams and Church, and you can look through the...
We gave those out, right? Yeah, we gave those out, and the, yeah, we do have those, and we gave those out.
I thought you gave figures from back in, I think 2012 was your earliest, and 2010, and you didn't have those more recent ones that we did just before the cameras went in.
2010 was for Guernsey Avenue, and we had 2013 for which one's Al?
Adams and Church.
So those were 2013 figures? I must have misunderstood.
Oh, I'm not sure what figures you're talking about, but the ones we used for the presentation were 2012.
2012. So in 2013, there were figures done. In September of 2013, those were figures done. Perhaps you can look for them, and I would be grateful if you would forward to me the ones that you had so I can see the comparison, if that could be done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Yeah.
Just a reminder that...
Can you come up to the microphone? Thank you, Rich.
Richard Garrett, 2948 Anzac Avenue, Ward 15. Just a reminder that we're going to experience our first hurricane, possibly, Monday to Tuesday. If you've been watching the weather, it's coming up the East Coast, but to remind everybody, make sure you got enough gas for your generators, and we could get hit hard, we could get hit easily. Just, I hope this will be here before then.
So you're hearing Monday to Tuesday?
Yeah.
Now, I had heard Sunday to Monday. Have they pushed it?
But everything's pointing to us again, so just a reminder.
Thank you, Rich. Good reminder. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Sure. Neil Doherty, 505 Sylvania Avenue in Glenside. And I'm here to talk about a problem in my house with traffic and accidents. I've been in this house for 10 years now, and over those 10 years, I've had 5 cars jump the property. And if you don't know my property, it's the one surrounded by rose bushes. It's Sylvania Avenue, Jenkintown Road, and Kelly Lane. And there's a lot of rose bushes all around it. And prior to that, there were none there, but I had 2 cars jump the property and knock down poles and so forth. And it all stems from the bend in the road at Kelly, at Norwood, excuse me, at Sylvania and Jenkintown, coming from Ardsley. There's no problems going the other way. That's fine, the other way. But the eastbound traffic coming from Ardsley has a problem. These particular drivers, they're probably all drunk or whatever, but they're inattentive anyway, and they don't see the property. They don't see the turn, the bend in the road, and as a result, they're coming into my property. And I've asked for some help, and I want to, first of all, thank Carol Gillespie tonight for the work she's done to improve the lighting on Jenkintown Road. This past week or so, we now have LED lights, and it's much brighter. Thanks, Carol. Appreciate it. But there needs to be some more work done. And I saw Officer Freed here tonight with that signal device, and that's could be a potential problem. I've heard that if the average speed is 35 or more, they may raise the speed limit to 40. If it's, I talked to him tonight on the phone, 85% rule, whatever. If it's like 85% of the drivers are going more than that speed, then we'll raise the speed limit. Well, that's really getting bad. It's getting worse. And my neighbor across the street, he can hardly get out of his driveway in the morning to go to work at the current speed limit. And if we start raising the speed limits higher, he's going to be fit. But anyway, I have a few things here I want to recommend. I've been shot down about this a couple times, but I'm going to recommend it again. First of all, the problems begin up at Jenkintown and Edge Hill. When they're coming over that hill. At that intersection, there's a traffic light there, and at that intersection, there should be a sign that says, reduce speed ahead. I'm recommending this. And down the road a bit, not too far away, you see the current speed limit, 35 miles an hour. I would say, after that reduced speed limit warning, let's make it 25. I mean, Jenkintown does it all the time. All over Jenkintown is 25 miles an hour, and cars are moving at a good pace. The other thing we have there are yellow blinking lights that say 30 miles an hour, reduce your speed right now. Well, those lights and signs are getting shrouded by tall bushes. And that's a problem. I think if we did the reduced speed limit to 25, we wouldn't have to worry about the blinking lights and the reduced speed limit, or the bushes.
Sir, excuse me. I'm not sure how many recommendations you have there, but have you already talked to both your commissioner and Officer Freed about your recommendations so that they can go and look at the spot and go over those with you rather than...
Can I leave this with you and
Absolutely, you can
look it over? Because I need help. Like I told him tonight,
I understand. Yeah.
5 accidents. I have 3 documented, and I need to get help on this. I don't want to wait for the day that somebody's killed or injured or not.
Absolutely.
I mean, in October last year, the same thing happened. And it was at 8 o'clock at night. Somebody can walk along the sidewalk at Jenkintown Road. He got hit by a guy.
Officer Freed, you'll get that from Manager Lefevre and look it over? Is that all right?
Madam Chairman, I'll look it over. I spoke with Mr. Doherty already today in reference to his list here. So we're aware of it, and besides what has already been done with the flashing lights, I spoke with the Public Works Director today, and they're looking at something to do with the center line on Jenkintown Road. The one issue is that obviously Jenkintown Road is a state road, and anything that's done on that road has to be agreed to by them. So I know Mr. Michelow has gone to them to make a suggestion, and it'll be up to them whether they're going to do that or not.
Very good. So it sounds like it's in the works, looking at the different suggestions. Thank you, sir.
The other thing that might help, he and I talked about it, but directional arrows, on the black symbols on the yellow. Mm-hmm. Could there be some kind of reflectors in there so that cars will see that something is there, not just a black symbol at night?
I'm not an expert in that.
He told me it's a state thing, so...
Yeah. So they'll have to talk to the state about if those things can do, but thank you for your suggestions.
Like I said, I'm thinking about this. I'm trying to get something out there to all of us can work on. But it's not just me. It's
Absolutely.
and this last accident involved my other neighbor across Kelly Lane. Now that previous owner of that house had put 3 big boulders in front of his house. Now I've been told if you put boulders on your house, on your property, you have to better look at your insurance policy because you might be liable for somebody dying or getting killed by hitting a boulder. Is that true? Officer, is that true?
You'd have to check with your insurance agent on that one.
I don't know.
But that's a frequent solution for properties like yours.
I want to protect my house, and I just want to make sure that I got your help.
Thank you so much
Right,
for your
thank you.
comments.
Madam Chair, I just want to clarify for the board and for Mr. Dockey, there's absolutely no move afoot in any way, shape, or form about raising the speed limit there, and that those signs would have absolutely no bearing on that whatsoever.
Commissioner Gillespie?
Thank you. I just want to mention, and I know, Neil, they are going to trim back those bushes, the homeowner on the corner. We spoke about that the other day. Hasn't been, but his landscaper is coming out to do that, he said. So, okay? I'm keeping my eye on it.
It has to be more than the back. It has to come down.
Well,
The lights are
okay. All right.
Any other comments? Yes, sir, come up and please say your name and address.
My name is Raymond Bell. I live on Parkview Avenue. I want to thank Officer Freed, my ward commissioner, Mr. Hecker, for spending about 45 minutes with me at the intersection of where I live at Parkview and Lycoming. We do have problems there. I think the meeting was very productive. Can take the approach, well, what is done, or what I say is, if you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you always got. And at least one thing I noticed in 45 minutes when Officer Freed's car was parked in front of my house, we did get people to stop at the stop signs. So I want to thank the police officer for coming out, taking time. We do have things to do over there, and I just rather move on instead of going back, to the past. But it is a problem there. And the other thing, when you're retired, none of you are near that stage. I do babysit and pick up my grandchildren up on Brentwood. And I'm telling you, I've never seen so many people on cell phones driving down a street, and they're all coming from a direction where the Abington campus is. So if that sign's available over on Brentwood, I don't live there, but my son does, and my 2 granddaughters, and obviously his wife, I'd like to get some help there as well. Thank you.
I think Officer Freed maybe would want to move into your house, and then he can be your roommate and put his car there.
With due respect, I don't want him to be at my house. I did ask him if he had an extra uniform. I'll wear it out there, and they'll stop at the stop signs.
Halloween is coming. Any other comments? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Public Affairs Committee meeting for September 30th, 2015. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Here.
Here.
Here. Commissioner Spiegelman is excused tonight. I'll be sitting in for him. Before we begin our formal agenda, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 2nd, 2015 Public Affairs Committee meeting. I so move.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Any comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We have one agenda item tonight. This is PA1, the Ardsley Community Education Center lease renewal. This is a motion to approve the Ardsley Community Education Center's lease with the School District of Abington Township for a term of 10 years from September 27, 2015 until September 26, 2025. And I so move.
Second.
Any comments from commissioners? Staff?
Commissioner, I believe this agreement mirrors the agreement we've had in place for years with the school district. The only change that I'm aware of is the notice provision. Prior in the current lease, the school district had the ability to take the building back without any notice. They're now, in the proposed lease, providing a 90-day notice should that occur. They don't expect to do so, but it's, the terms are more favorable to the township than the current agreement.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from audience? Name and address for the record.
Well, of course. Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. So I just want to have a little chuckle with you about how we had talked here just recently about how it's not costing us anything. It only costs us $1 to lease it. That was said very quickly because we were talking about, you know, the funding for the Crestmont Center. So I had a chuckle when I watched the school meeting, and they said, well, it's not costing us anything because the township picks up all the charges. Okay? So we got the school saying it's not costing anything and you not costing anything, but $1.7 million was spent in the term of the last 2 leases. So that came out to something like $50,000 a year. So that's something that, you know, in an upfront world, we're gonna hope that we can get squared away. That does cost us $50,000 a year for that community center. It's siding, windows, doors, and you got praised highly for the nice job that you're doing keeping it in great shape. So we thank you for that, and I hope you're chuckling with me and that we can get past that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the audience? Nope. Commissioner Gillespie?
Thank you. Just on that, doesn't the daycare center lease in there?
Yes, the daycare center offsets the majority of the costs associated with the building, but there is some portion the township is responsible for.
But I knew that it was taken up. Okay.
Okay. We'll go to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And that concludes our formal agenda. Any comments from commissioners? On public affairs? Public?
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. The question that I had was about the VNA thing. So first of all, I did speak to the residents over near the Triangle Park, and the ones that I spoke to did not know anything about that. And I think that they should have been invited by Commissioner Spiegelman to the meeting, because, you know, that was on the agenda. And it would have given them a chance to have a say and know that this was happening. My fear is that, and I guess I don't understand, and I wish I could get an answer perhaps here, about how somebody comes in without a full plan, asks for the concept again to be approved, and then our solicitor is going to put together the plan for them. Instead of them using their resources to propose a plan which we look at and decide if we like. So my fear here is that this particular plan is being put together by our solicitor or in conjunction with our solicitor and our resources, but then how would you turn down something that your solicitor crafted specifically for you to like? That's the part I don't understand. It seems almost like a done deal, and the residents still haven't really been made aware and have been left sort of sleeping there going, oh, it's no big deal. So I'm concerned about that. So how does somebody come in with a half a concept and get our solicitor to put the whole concept together for them?
That's something I'll pass along to Commissioner Spiegelman. He would be able to answer that better than I can answer that at this particular juncture, unless Manager LaFever wants to touch that.
I think there were a couple misrepresentations in the speaker's comments. In no way, shape, or form did the solicitor suggest that he was going to prepare a plan for VNA for the proposed use of the facility. What the solicitor did agree upon is to work with the VNA attorney in drafting an option agreement should the board choose to move forward in that area. I don't want to speak for Commissioner Spiegelman, but I know he's in the process of arranging a meeting with representatives of VNA and the residents across from that property, and I expect before this comes back before the board, that meeting will occur, and we'll have additional information at that time.
Great, thank you.
So that'll come up later, and it'll come, so I'm confused as to when it comes back, because it seemed to me it was going to come back with an agreement crafted jointly. So when will it come back? It's going to come back and get approved first, and then, I'm not understanding. How is it going to come back and when?
I think, Manager LaFever, if I misrepresent you, please correct me.
I have no idea when it's going to come back. It will be in the future. It will be listed on an agenda and discussed at a public meeting.
Okay, so, and they're not working together now? The two
I think
attorneys?
he's already answered that they're not, our solicitor is not working for them or working in conjunction with them. Is that correct? Am I reading your answer right?
The speaker indicated the solicitor was working on a plan for the V&A expansion. That's not
the
accurate.
case.
No,
if anything, we'll be working with the attorney for V&A and drafting an option agreement for them to acquire the property from the township, but that's the extent of his involvement.
So he is working on the option agreement?
That would be if they're trying to acquire the property.
For the land, not on the expansion. I didn't suggest that. I suggested that what he had come for was to have us donate that park to the VNA.
I think that's what he did come here for, but there was a follow-up that Manager LaFever just explained is not happening the way, I think, the way it was interpreted with what you just said, that the solicitor is only going to be working with them if they're going to try to purchase the property and working on the legal paperwork in order to do that.
And that'll be in front of the board for consideration, whether to approve or disapprove at a future meeting.
At whatever point the process, they go through the process.
Okay, the last words dropped out. She said that'll be before the board when?
At whenever the process
Whenever it's
comes
prepared.
to,
It's
comes
not
to fruition.
prepared yet.
Okay.
Yep. Commissioner Jones?
Would it be, this is to the solicitor, would it be an appropriate course of action that if any type of an option agreement were drafted, if that option agreement were drafted simply by the V&A party, then present it to our solicitor, and the solicitor would have to go through, make any corrections, and continually go back
I
forward?
believe that's the exact process that's
So
happening.
it's kind of a common practice to ensure that that agreement is drafted in a way that not only spells out what would be done, but also serves to protect the township and the taxpayers.
It's not only common practice, it's advisable practice. There are times when things come in front of the board and our office doesn't have a chance to work out the details and things will be approved subject to final approval from our office, but this is certainly standard practice.
Thank you.
So my fear under those circumstances is that it would be drafted in a way that could be almost immediately approved, and that sort of takes away from the residents the real option of all the process that they would need to be involved in to first get up to speed and then secondly to have a say. Okay,
Thank you for your comments. Commissioner Gillespie?
Just quickly, I don't remember that we ever designated that a park, that little triangle there. I know we have Tyson Park, but I didn't know we had, what would that be called?
It's township property. It's not
That's what I thought
dedicated parkland.
That's what I thought it was, township property.
Okay. Make a motion to end the meeting?
Second.
Meeting's adjourned.